Welcome to the Everything Sparkle Show. I'm really happy about today's episode because we have very different people with very great messages doing very awesome, positive things. So our first guest is Allison Murphy. Hello, Allison.
Hi, Annie.
So we'll start fluffy. I'll talk about how I met you, actually.
Okay.
You're a notary.
Yes. Yep. I do loan document signing for real estate transactions, and so I get to meet some pretty awesome people.
And tell me it doesn't always take that long, because that was like some...
That was a random transaction that included an out-of-state
That's
title.
why, right? Because
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was signing up
Yeah.
for being the witness to that.
Yeah. No, in my 25 years of being in this industry, those are rare situations, so very rare.
Nice.
But thank you for asking. Yes.
So anyways, when we got to talking, you have such an incredible story. Your mom passed away at cancer when she was how old?
She was 47. I was 23. I had a 4-year-old child at the time, breast cancer.
And then you found out you had cancer when you were how old?
I was 43.
So that must have just been like,
Yeah.
you see what happened, you're thinking you have the same fate.
I wasn't really sure, to be honest with you, what the situation was, and we kind of had to get through it, but it was stage 4 breast cancer, just like my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. So that was in March of 2016, and I'm still here after a lot of treatments, a lot of surgeries, and I think with having the positive attitude and just staying on the up and being grateful and thankful for every blessed day that you have when you wake up in the morning is incredibly important. It's a part of the therapy.
How do you have such a positive attitude? Because you want to talk about what had happened prior to 2016 a little bit about
Sure.
what was
You're talking
going
about my daughter?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So thank you for asking about her, by the way, because every time somebody asks me about her, she gets to live. So
Chloe.
Chloe.
We're going to make sure everyone knows Chloe.
Chloe and Lacey, yes. So Chloe was a Buchanan High graduate, 2009. She wanted to leave Buchanan in the Clovis Central Valley area and move up to Humboldt County so that she can be up there and go to school. And when she was up there, she disclosed to me that she was transgender. And this was in 2009. So she graduated in August, and basically around Christmas time, she decided to come out to me and let me know that she was going through this emotional turmoil.
What did you think about transgender at the time? I'm trying to think about where I was in 2009. I mean, because 2009 is a different place, and we are 10 years later. So what was your perception of what a transgender?
Honestly, I had to Google it. Sparkle. I had no idea what she was telling me. I think as a mom, you want to try to fix things, and you want to try to categorize things and label things, and it's that was something that was not a good thing, right? But I want to listen to my child. I want to be there for my child. It was really difficult because she was 9 hours away up in Humboldt, drive time. But, I basically was trying to get her to come back home so that I can get her some more help and be a better mom at a close proximity. So she didn't want to come back. The Central Valley wasn't really, at that time, wasn't open. Clovis wasn't open.
Especially Clovis.
The world has learned a lot of lessons since 2009 when it comes to being transgender. And you're right, Clovis Unified, I believe has grown because of Chloe's loss.
So.
Yeah. I hope that they continue to. So, when I didn't really say that part, but I kind of gave it away. So the following year, she actually took her life, unfortunately. 2010. So September 24th, 2010 is when I heard the news that she took her life. And it's just very unfortunate because I believe that if she was here today and if she could have maybe have just held on a little bit longer, that maybe there could have been that help for her. There could have been more of society being open to her. And
we are, so.
And we are. And I know it's unfortunate that her life is gone and I don't have my child anymore, but I
Your
know
only child.
My only child. But I know that her sacrifice, as tragic as it is still to this day, is a part of the growth.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit to when she first told you. Did you see any signs growing up where you're like, oh, this explains this, that? Were there a lot of little holes that the pieces of the puzzle started coming together when she told you, or not really?
Absolutely not.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely not. No, I thought I had a full-on testosterone kid. I mean, BMXer, skateboarder, mountain biker, avid rock climber, just very athletic, very, testosterone, if you want to categorize,
Right.
type thing. So I had no clue whatsoever.
Was she in the arts at all? Or she was just like...
No, she just, I mean, honestly, from what I've learned, and through her death, obviously, I've been educated tremendously in this, and was self-taught, and I wanted to reach out to other kids that were like her and learn more about this. And a lot of these kids just don't know how to tell their moms. They don't know how to tell their parents, and their parents don't know how to react. And
I bet.
I really appreciate you having me on here today, because we need to have more of this conversation.
We do. So what are some of the mistakes that you make that you warn other parents about?
I don't really want to go look back on mistakes, but there are some things that I would definitely feel that I would do differently.
Okay.
And that would be, I only really had 9 months of knowledge.
That's a very short time to process.
Yeah, and having her so far away. But I would absolutely urge parents to just listen to your kid. Just listen to your child on what they're trying to tell you. It's not really up to you to tell them what they need to do. They're gonna lay it out there for you. They're gonna come to you, be supportive, be loving, be unconditional. When they ask for something, counseling, whatever it is, get it to them as fast as they possibly can. Obviously, we still need to be parents. We still need to guide them in directions of being an adult. Making sure they get jobs, education, whatever it is, but encouraging them for their dreams is imperative for them to be able to get from point A to point B to point C and so on, especially when they're suffering so much inside. It's day to day for them, minute to minute for them. They're next to the veterans, they're the highest rated suicides.
I believe that. Wow.
Yeah.
What was your response to her? I mean, do you feel like your responses were pretty good? You didn't try to change her, right?
No, definitely didn't try to change her, but I maybe would say that I tried to fix the situation. So when she said, Mom, she didn't come out really say I was transgender. She started by asking me for female clothes. And I thought, okay, what is this? When you have your son ask you for female clothes, is this for a friend? I'm not quite sure what this is. So I would have urged her, knowing that I know now, if she would have just come out to me and said what she needed to say. However, in her defense, she's terrified. She doesn't know how I'm going to react. When children come out to their parents, they have no idea how their fear of rejection is life altering. It's so scary for them. That's why there's so much suicide,
But you didn't reject.
No, I didn't reject her. Absolutely didn't reject her. In fact, I urged her to try to come home so she could get closer, so we can work through this and grow through this. If I know then what I know now, I probably would have driven up there and either moved up there to try to help her, or put her in the car and bring her home, just to have that closeness, just to have that mother-child bond, because that's what she needed. She was really alone. She had friends up there and very understanding. She was not bullied. She was not picked on in any way whatsoever. She had self-demons. She was terrified of, at 18 years old, she was 10 days shy of her 19th birthday, and she was terrified of the testosterone doing permanent damage to her that she was born with. She needed to start her hormones. She needed to start her therapy. She needed to go through all of the criteria to be able to be true to who she is, and that's an overwhelming pill to swallow for them. You got to do all of these things just to be happy. It's different than being gay or being lesbian.
Exactly.
It's not a sexual preference, it's an identity situation. So looking in the mirror and looking at yourself, at what you're born with, and realizing you're in the completely wrong body is an incredible pill to swallow every single morning. and walk that walk every single day with a smile on your face. I can't imagine. It breaks my heart my child had to go through that.
How long did it take you to come to that? I mean, what was your first response? Was it just like, is this really happening? Oh my gosh, what do I do? What was your first response in your head?
There's a lot of things that go through your head as a mom. You know, for me, it was I wanted to understand it. I wanted to wrap my head around it so I can fix it.
But that's so good that you wanted to understand it instead of just being like, no, that's, you know.
Oh,
a lot of people don't have
I know that.
that understanding
really
of a mother.
Critical. It's really critical that you don't react that way. I mean, they first, you know, statistics show, I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head, but having a supportive parent reduces the risk of suicide, completed suicides. So she had attempted suicide several times.
Before she had moved
to
Humboldt, or
before she had completed her suicide. So while she was up in Humboldt.
While she was up in Humboldt.
Yeah. So I mean, the attempts are there, and then the actual, you know, the completed suicide it leads up to that. So sometimes it happens on the first time. Sometimes they're tortured. Sometimes they're tortured through their adult life, and then they complete their suicide. I mean, it's just really a tragic way to have to live their life when all they want to do is just be happy.
What when all this had happened, how did you overcome, I'm sure, the initial shock, grief, and all the stages of grief you went through? How did you come out of that and be positive? How do we have our Allison that we have right now? Well, tell us a little bit about the process that you can.
Are you talking about after her death?
Yes.
Okay. Of course, it's, I always said when my mom died, oh my gosh, I have my child. I don't know what I would do without my child. I can't imagine living my life without my child. And be honest with you, I still, when somebody asks me that question, it's amazing to me how I can live without her. But I think what is really important for me in my life is that I continue her message. Her message needs to be heard.
So that gave you purpose.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
that makes
solid purpose for all of the other Chloes out there that need a mom to stand up for them, or somebody to tell her story, right. So that maybe me sitting here with you, thank God you're asking me to be on your show, that maybe another parent would be open to it and not just think their kid's crazy or try to change their mind. You know, it's a big thing to come forward to anybody in their life and say, I'm gay or I'm transgender. And, you know, we're talking about the transgender situation, which is completely separate from sexual preference. This is just identity. So it's I want to be very clear with that. You know, I just, every time I get to speak about her, every time somebody asks me about her, she lives. So my life purpose is to celebrate her life through mine and help educate others so we can grow as humanity.
That's great. How did it go from like, okay, you went through all the stages of grief, now you want to like have her message live on, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm diagnosed with cancer. How was it? Were you just like, can you tell me a little bit about that, how that happened, and your attitude about learning you had cancer after going through all of this?
Well, I kind of said some words that you probably don't want me to say on your show, and I laughed at it, to be honest with you, because after losing my child, you really can't touch me anymore. There's nothing that can faze me at this point. So learning that I had stage 4 cancer, you know, I wondered if it would be my fate, what happened to my mom. And what happened to me psychologically was, you know what, it's kind of a win-win for me. If I don't make it, I get to be with my daughter. If I do make it, I get to stay here and help other women like me with breast cancer, other children like my child that's passed, and parents that need help from their children that were like my child. So if there's a will for God to keep me alive, then, you know, I've got the will. I just want him to make the way.
That is a great outlook. Oh my gosh.
You have to stay positive. You can't fall within the darkness. You can't fall within the tar pits. You can't look behind you when the Grim Reaper's waiting there for you. You have to just stay positive and keep going forward. You can. It's a choice. Some people can fall into their grief, and I'm not saying that I never have. My grief is a grief journey until I see her again. It could come up again tomorrow. You know, it's not something that you just get past. It's something that you get better at managing.
And you have bad days, and then you just have better days over it, right?
Sure. And you just have to remind yourself of the blessing of waking up to another day, disease-free currently, and knowing that you're making a difference for other people because you're sharing your story.
You mentioned God a few times. Were you religious or spiritual before this had happened, or do you feel like this has made you grow stronger about believing in that? Or
I wouldn't say that I was raised Catholic, but I don't practice Catholicism. I don't believe in some of the ways that the Catholic Church believes, but I do believe that there's a better place, and I have that as hope. That's the hope that I carry.
Did you start thinking about this more after all these things happened? Like, you know,
absolutely. When you come home from chemotherapy and you're getting dosed up with other things and going through multiple surgeries, and you lay in bed for practically a year, you look at your mortality. And when you look at your mortality, you're able to look at things a little differently when you have a conversation with your spiritual God and you know, Jesus Christ, and you say, if you are allowing me to live another day, then just keep showing me your way. Just keep showing me your way. I've got the will. I'll get up. My feet will touch the ground again. Just show me what you need me to do. So then I meet you.
I know, it was such a great experience. I was like, wow, this woman's incredible.
We have to take care of ourselves. We you know, we're human, you know, and we're not made to be perfect. I'm certainly far from that, but I want to share what I've learned in my life so that maybe other people can benefit from it.
And speaking of, what can you touch upon of things that you have planned in the future of spreading the message? I know that there's different things that you're working on. What can you talk about?
Well, I'm open to having more things on my plate. I have to take care of myself because of my health, obviously. Right. So they say I'm not allowed to have any stress. kind of a tough thing to do. So I pick and choose wisely. But currently, I'm a part of Fresno Survivors Suicide Loss team.
Okay. And do we have that information? The Fresno Survivors. We don't.
I can get that for you.
We'll find it and put it by the end.
So Fresno Survivors of Suicide has reached out to me when Chloe passed away. They are now a division of Hines Hospice. Hines Hospice is Nancy Hines is an amazing woman. You got to get an interview with her. Amazing.
I'd love to.
Oh, you absolutely. She's amazing. They have all these different branches of the trees of things that they do for the community. And one of them is Fresno Survivors of Suicide, which is somebody like me. Not somebody that's tried to complete the suicide, but a survivor of somebody that I've lost to suicide.
Right.
So they have a moms group where it's just us moms. They have groups for everybody. And currently right now what we're trying to do in Fresno County is we are teaming up with the Fresno County Mental Health. And we are teaming up with some other divisions of Fresno. So when there's been a completed suicide that's happened, I, as a survivor and a clinical therapist, will go out to the scene, and we will be there to help the first-time responders. We're not there to take anybody's job. We're not there to interfere. We're just there to hopefully assist in helping the family, getting them in the right direction for their mental health. So Fresno Survivors of Suicide, Hines Hospice, Fresno County Mental Health, actually through Hines Hospice, donates 6 free sessions for anybody that's been affected directly by that suicide. Amazing. And these numbers have shown that it not only gets these people into mental health faster, but it decreases their risk of suicide, it decreases their depression, and it gets them on a grief plan that is fast pathing them through getting better.
That is so great. I'm so glad that you're doing all these things. I'm so glad you're on this show spreading your message. So if we do need a notary, we have your information.
Yes, I do real estate transaction notary work. So.
You do everything though, right? You said before, I think I'd asked you, you said you do beyond that as well.
I do.
Anytime you need a notary for anything, you're a go-to person we can go to.
Well,
right?
I mainly just do loan transactions, to be honest with you. But if somebody was to call me with something that I wasn't able to help them with, then I can direct them in the right area. Yeah. So thank you for that plug.
Is there any events or anything coming up anything that you're going to speak at, anything that we can?
Oh, gosh, I really wish there was. Currently, there's not right now. There's not.
But are you good at posting on your social media if something does come up that you're doing?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
good.
so if we follow you, we can kind of see the process, and if there is an event that you're speaking at, or some stuff you need help from the community, from us to do, we can follow you on Facebook, correct?
Or on Instagram, Facebook or Instagram, yes.
Facebook or Instagram.
And I actually would love. I noticed that you put Trans the movie on there, the documentary.
Yes.
So if there are any questioning parents out there that need a little extra advice or a little extra help, then you could go to www.transthefilm.com. I think that you put that on there.
Right.
And there is a trailer on there for the movie that I was actually honored to be a part of for Chloe's story. It's she's the tragedy of the documentary, and it's won many awards, including the Fresno LGBT Film Festival for Best Documentary.
Oh my gosh, yes, everybody people should see that movie anyways, even if you don't have a situation like that, just to know when you come across people how to communicate.
I've had so many people that have come to me in my life that had no clue whatsoever, that have come across somebody in their life that because of me sharing Chloe's story, they came to me much later, years later, and said, I now have a niece. I now have a cousin.
Right.
So thank you for telling me Chloe's story because we're more educated because of it. That's all I want to do.
That's great. So everybody go see Trans the movie. Thank you so much, Allison.
Thanks, girly. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Down on your knees, and you're begging me, please. Forgive you and just walk away, and I don't work like that, darling.
CentralValleyTalk.com